Great girlfriends, get ready for the 2018 Doers and Disruptors Conference in New York City. This year's conference is dedicated to igniting great girlfriends, putting your ideas into motion, and moving the needle to get the results that you desire out of life. Join us June 21st and 22nd in New York City for a 2-day event with brilliant doers and disruptors across various industries who started with an idea and blossomed to become change agents, global influencers, and enterprise leaders. At the conference, you'll gather for workshops, panels, connect groups, dance breaks, light bites, and more while getting tips and resources to fulfill your passion in your personal life, your career, your business, motherhood, relationships, and more. Don't miss this opportunity to join forces with women who are on the same mission as you and experience the excitement and impact that only Brandis and I can bring to life. Get your tickets now at thegreatgirlfriendsconference.com. We'll see you there. Welcome to the Great Girlfriends podcast, where we discuss life, love, laughter, and everything in between. We're your hosts. I'm Sybil Amuti.
And I'm Brandis Daniel.
And before we jump into this week's episode of the podcast, make sure you sign up for our newsletter at
thegreatgirlfriends.com.
And don't forget to leave us an amazing iTunes review.
Yes, that is the payment for listening to this podcast.
I love it. 5 stars all the way. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So, hey, great girlfriends.
Hey.
Oh, my goodness. So, we are so super excited because we have such an amazing guest today. Like, such an amazing guest. But before we get into her,
Let's
Sybil,
talk about how Brandis just sang Unbreak My Heart. Y'all missed that full solo.
Right.
I'm just saying, you want to be in this studio with us because what you don't get, on the recording is Brandis and all of these solos. The Unbreak My Heart.
Let me tell you.
The unabridged version, Tony. Tony Braxton, if you're listening to this, your super fan is my co-host.
It
and you
sure
need to come
is.
and get her.
And no, we need to have Tony Braxton on the podcast.
We do. Tony, we need you on.
Gosh.
Would
That
you
is
sing
the
background
only
for Tony?
person. That's the only person I think I would fan out over.
Would you sing background for Tony?
Her and a couple other people, but definitely
Who else?
Tony. John Grisham.
Really?
Right? I know. Every time I say that, people are like, "What?" Like, I love him. Like, you have no idea. how
Okay,
much I
who
love
else?
him.
Who? Vanessa Bell Armstrong, the Clark sisters. Who else?
You know who else?
Who else?
Elon Musk.
I said sing background.
Oh, I thought you
Elon
said who I would fan out over.
No,
Oh, sorry.
I said sing
I
background.
would, but I'm just saying, I would fan that. Oh, if we had Elon Musk, great girlfriends. Do you guys want
I
Elon?
think you would drop your shoulder for Elon. I think she would. Y'all don't even want to see what happened. Lord Jesus, when Brandis meets Elon, may it be in a church. That's all I got to say.
We're Rich standing right
With
there.
Rick standing right there. Elon, you're gonna need security this morning.
You are so crazy. How was your weekend, Sybil?
Oh my goodness, my weekend was awesome.
If I had my phone in front of me, I'd be on your social.
Well, you know what? If you're following me at Sybil_AMUTI, my Insta story is where it's at.
Okay.
I don't share as much in my profile as I do in my story because sometimes I feel really silly and I go silly in my story, but then I get my mind right before I post something. You have to think more before you post.
Right.
So, yeah, you got to get in my story to really get the grit on things. You do. Yeah. How was your weekend?
It was good. And so Sybil still has her Israel braids.
I do. Y'all, I'm kind of feeling
Did
these.
you even talk to us about going to Israel? I don't even think she gave us a recap, Gigi.
I know, right? Okay, so my husband said Bo Derek. He was like, I see you, Bo Derek.
I see that.
Okay, Israel was everything. I want to shout out Israel Collective. Get on Instagram and follow Israel Collective. I had the most amazing trip. 30 people that I'd never met before. Okay. One of 2 African Americans on the trips, that was super special to represent us for the culture. So when I came with my braids, I'm sure they were like, "Oh Lord," but I gave them
forever.
Right.
But I gave them the fullness. It was actually the most amazing experience of my life. You didn't tell me, Brandis, that Israel was everything.
I told you I was changed when I came back.
You
from
did
Israel.
say that. You haven't gotten the words
I
together.
said there's a pre-Israel Brandis and a post-Israel Brandis.
And I get it now.
Yeah.
And there's not enough words to describe what happens in Israel. It's just that the Bible is 4D. You know, I'm a super Bible toting, like, love the Lord. So the Bible became so real, and the culture and the vibrance of the people really it was just a God experience. Like, it was just a God experience. And what the people of Israel wanted, when we asked, well, how can we support Israel? They said, number one was to pray for the peace of Israel. That was the first. I mean, this was like random people. It wasn't like a script. That is what they want people to do. Pray for the peace of Israel, and they want people to tell their story. Tell people about the truth of Israel. And the truth of Israel is that though there is war surrounding the country, yes, because they are surrounded by Egypt, they have Syria, you've got Iraq on the far northern border, and so forth. God's hand is truly on Israel. Like, when I say peace, I walked around at night, me being culturally strong, you know, I'm walking around at night by myself. I'm meeting people and enjoying culture and experiencing food, and Muslims, Christians, and Jews live in peace in Israel.
Yes.
And the harmony is there. Like, you feel the harmony. And then you got Tel Aviv, which is just this hot spot.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Hot
Right.
spot.
Yes.
Number 2 country for startups in the world. You got U.S. and you have Israel. I did not know that.
Me either.
So there's a lot of unknown facts about Israel and misconceptions about Israel that are deadened when you get there on the ground. You have to go. And so I really do thank Israel Collective, because I was invited to go on this trip, and I'm shouting them out multiple times because I do want anyone who is interested in learning more about what they're doing to follow them and to connect with them. I just felt really honored to be with the people who came as strangers and we left as family. Like, we've been texting every day. We talk about life. We praying over each other. It was just
that's beautiful.
Yeah, and it taught me to just really expand my expectation when I meet people.
Yeah.
Like,
Absolutely.
when I meet you, I'm full of what could it be. I'm like, what's here? Like, let's open this thing up. So that was it.
Yeah.
But speaking of opening things up,
Speaking of opening things up,
we have a really super dope guest, y'all. Like, I'm feeling her.
I know.
I'm feeling Nicole. I'm feeling you.
Look, I don't think I've ever been called super dope, and I'm receiving that.
Oh no, Nicole, we're feeling you, Nicole. We're feeling you. We have Nicole Roberts Jones in the building.
Yeah, so excited to be here, especially now that I know I'm super dope. I'm even more excited to be here.
Yes, super dope, super fierce, yes,
Yay.
but super dope. And I mean, I gotta say, I think I'm super honored right now, Brandis, because Nicole flew in
She did.
from Boston.
But it's nothing like, I've heard so much about both of you. I wanted to feel your spirit. You can't feel that over a phone. I wanted to receive all that is the great girlfriends. You can't receive that over a phone, right?
You really can't get
Right.
that. I mean, we would try to give you like a good idea over the phone, but yeah, when you get up in this is an enveloping love right here.
Yeah.
And so Nicole is here, y'all, and I just want to go ahead and get your pen and paper out, because
Yes.
I do know that there will be many nuggets and gems dropped that you will want to take with you in life, and so we're excited.
Because I got
Right.
questions, GG's. Let me tell you something.
Right.
First of all, Nicole walked through here looking like a snack, as the kids would say.
It's a snack. It's a snack, y'all. As the kids would say, that's why they call us aunties, because you say stuff like that.
And I'm like, no, she's not a snack. She's a full entree,
Yeah,
right?
full entree.
That's
Can I be a
what the
dessert?
normal
Right.
auntie me would say. But
Right.
she did, and then she went on to tell us her age, and I was like, what?
Oh, that changed the whole
So
show.
we got lots of questions. This is gonna be interesting. She looks like, I'm telling you, absolutely incredible. I cannot
Y'all are
even
good for the
believe
ego.
that.
I'm just saying.
Girl, you good for the ego. You did this. You did this to yourself. We sitting here just in it. We're just like enjoying
I'm just
it.
excited because she gives me hope that I'm gonna be turning 50 looking super dope. Which,
Yes.
by the way, I have to shout out myself right now because I'm 7 pounds down.
Come on, 7 pounds.
Right.
I got like 7 more to go.
Right.
Yes. You
But-
got some more.
I got like 7 more to go.
You did it. You got
Yes.
one more baby, right?
Y'all are funny. Not one more baby. That's
And
one
then
more
I'll
baby.
be there.
Yes.
Yay.
By the time the Great Girlfriends Conference happened, okay, I'm stating this. So
You gonna
this
be
is
a
so
snack?
now this I'm gonna be a
Be a
snack.
snack.
Yes.
I want my my snack, Brandon. I'm ready for you.
By the time the Great Girlfriends Conference come, you gonna see something different on that stage
Come on,
this year.
snack.
Yeah.
You gonna be
I
a
wanna
snack.
Be a snack
And
too.
look, and I listened to the last episode, and you gonna have your dance down, your
I'm
40
gonna
dance
have my
down.
dance down. I'm gonna
Right.
be able to get low. My knees gonna be strong, y'all. I got some baby weight to lose
Right,
too. I'm
right.
working on some things, which is why I told my husband I cannot wear regular clothes until I lose the weight that I deserve. So if you see me looking like Richard Simmons every day, it's because I'm telling
Richard
myself to go
Simmons.
to the gym, to get fit, and to stay there. That's my new house.
Yes.
So,
I love it. I love it.
So Nicole, who are you? I want you to give our girlfriends.
Nicole
Who is
Roberts
Nicole
Jones.
Roberts?
You know what's
So-
interesting is usually when people ask you who are you want to start with your bio.
Yes.
But when you ask me that, the first thing I think of is who I'm not.
Mm.
And I say that because, before we started talking about this whole entrepreneurial thing. I never set out to be an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
So I think about who I'm not because when I started this journey in 1993, when I was 25, no, when I was 3, because I'm 28.
right.
Whatever adds up. But anyway, so when I started this journey in 1993, I was working in the entertainment industry. Living what many people would call a dream, right? So I was working for the hottest TV show on Fox. I was going to the hot Hollywood
What
parties.
TV show were you
but
working at?
I worked on the Martin Show. I also worked on Def Comedy Jam, right? I usually don't say, but since I'm with the Great Girlfriends, I'm going to say everything.
The Great
right?
Girl, we want to know.
I worked in casting on the
every
Martin Show.
summer at Walmart, we have been doing the Great Girlfriends at Walmart at the Essence Festival. We do this Great Girlfriends combo, and we're there every summer, and we have Gina. Gina's
right.
there with us.
So
yeah.
here's a quick tip that not a lot of people know. So if you watch the breakup episode, when Martin and Gina broke up, the character's name that he dated, her name was Nicole.
Oh, was that you? Did you write yourself?
No, I didn't do that. I worked in casting, but they were teasing me. So anyway, so here's the thing. I was living this dream life, but it had become my nightmare. And I say that only because I realized that I didn't even know my own soul. So when you ask me who I am, I have to start with that because I realized that I had created a path for myself that everybody else told me what I should be and what I should do. Somebody said, I'm going to keep it real since we Great Girlfriends today, right? Somebody said, Nicole, you're cute. And you should base your life off of what you look like. And so I listened. And I remember that day in 1993 when I woke up and said to myself, who are you? And how the heck did you get here? And don't get me wrong, Hollywood is great. I still miss the party. So I'm not saying Hollywood is bad.
Yeah.
But I had gotten to a place where I didn't know me.
Yeah.
So when I say when someone asks me who am I think about that moment in time where I had to pick up a pen to define my own life because I had let my mom, my neighborhood, my community, my friends define me. And I had to say to them, I let you do that and that's my fault. But I'm going to take back my control now. Like Janet Jackson, control, right?
Yeah.
So really who I am as a woman now, I can say this, I couldn't say it then, that is unapologetically me. Fully, I don't care anymore what people think, what they have to say. I don't care, any of that.
Yeah.
And what I realized along the path as I began to what I was doing really was looking for an outside answer to an inside yearning. So when I started to spend the time with me and getting to know me, I started to actually like me.
Yeah.
And I didn't like me before then because I didn't know me.
Yeah.
So
that's
so
good.
that's really when you ask me who I am. I'm a woman who knows myself, who loves myself, who's unapologetically me, and now really holds a space so other women can be on that journey too.
I love that, Nicole. Now, was there one particular, was there something that happened that got you to the place where you said, I have to go on this, journey of self-discovery, or?
That's a good question. Well, I'll be honest with you. So as I started talking to my girlfriends about this, all of them thought I had lost my mind. They started saying, didn't you just go to the premiere to this? And didn't you just do that? And so in the middle of me feeling dazed and confused, one of my really good girlfriends who actually lives here in New York invited me to a youth lock-in. I'm from LA. So those of you that don't know what a lock-in is, churches have these youth programs where they lock the doors of the church and the kids spend the night. So lock-in is by safe.
And they want to be
safety.
there.
They're
And they
safe.
want to be there.
Right. They're not in jail, right? So we do these programs, and my girlfriend said, let's volunteer tonight at the lock-in. And I had never been to one, and I said, okay. When I walked in that church that night, and I started working with young women, and this is right after the LA riots. So I'm from South Central LA, right? This is a year after the LA riots. and I see kids in my neighborhood that are dealing with issues I never had to deal with. And let me keep it real. You know, the gang members in my neighborhood, I never realized they were gang members because I grew up with them. So, they, you know, it never dawned on me until the riots of what was happening. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
And so as I started working with young women in that church I nighted, as their eyes lit up, my heart lit up. And I realized this is what I'm meant to do. But what is this? There was no such thing as a coach.
Yeah.
Right? This wasn't glamorous like
Yeah.
my daytime job.
Yeah.
And nobody was knocking down the walls. You know, nobody was saying, hey, let me do this work. Nobody was knocking down walls to do this.
Right.
But for the first time, my soul was alive.
Right.
And so I started doing it as a volunteer. So in 1993, I started a program for African American teenage girls in my church. And doing that work with them, and really that work, now I would have never said this at 23. Y'all can figure out how old I am now. But I started this at 23. So when I was 23 doing this work at night as a volunteer, I would never have said what I was doing the way I can now because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just holding a space for them, right? But really what I was doing was helping them. I was really providing a realm of reflection so that the thoughts and dreams can really be realized and they can carve out a path to get there. And I love doing that. And that's really, the more I did that, the more they started growing older, the more they became women, the more I realized I actually loved it as they got older more than I did when they were younger.
Yeah.
So that's how I really, to make a long story short, got here.
Yeah.
Right? Did I answer your question?
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
I went all the way around. But really, that is how I began. So that program at my church, another church called and wanted me to do it there. I was like, okay, because I had been doing all the workshops and I provided the infrastructure. I can say this now at 23, I would have never said infrastructure. I didn't know what that word was. I probably didn't even know how to say it at 23. So I had created all these workshops. I created a mentorship component. I created all these various pieces to it. And another church said, can I start it here? And I said, okay. And I remember her name is Najuma Smith, if she's listening to this. She said, you need to do this. Now the fear in me said, let's pray about it. That's, you know, how you
Oh, yeah.
Pause
pray
for a
about it.
second. That buys you some time.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And then if you get other people to praying too, that gives you
Oh,
even
that buys
more
you a whole
time.
bunch of time.
Yes.
let's pray about it. And 3 churches called me out of nowhere. So to make a long story short, that program became a nonprofit. We had it in 10 chapters in 10 states over time, and it grew. And so, you know, just doing that work is what shifted me. And so over time, I left my entertainment career, went back to school, and started doing this that I do now.
Okay, so when you left your entertainment career, what was that like? How did you know it was time to go? Because a lot of our girlfriends get to that point and they're like, how do I know it's time? I want to spend 6 more months to put some more money to the side.
I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not a. You know, so many people want to know. They want to have a cushion, like it's gonna be comfortable. There's no way you can live in your conviction and convenience.
Ooh, child.
So when
No, you're not going to run past that.
I just did did you see, you know how Bozema sometimes put on her line too? I just did a full
What? No, you're not. No.
they won't even let me say nothing else. Look.
No, we need a minute.
That is a word.
We need a minute.
Can you say that one more time?
You know, your conviction and your convenience can't coexist. So I felt convicted, like I had to do this thing. Did I know how I was going to make money on it? Did I know what I was doing? Heck to the no. It was a daily walk, right? So when I left, I felt this yearning.
Yeah.
And all my friends, I told you, all my friends thought I had lost my mind,
Yeah.
right? I bet you they don't think I lost my mind now. I'm just
Come
saying. It's been
on.
25 years, though. So literally, I didn't know what I was doing. I just took it one step at a time. So I'll be honest with you. Now, there was no internet then. So I started looking through the want ads, looking for a job doing this. So everything that sounded similar to what I was doing, it sounded like case management. Now, mind you, I worked in entertainment. I don't want to know what none of this is, right? I'm a volunteer. Right. And so I kept trying to get these jobs being a case manager. I had no experience being a case manager. And so over time, and I'm the kind of person, when I get an interview, I always get the job.
Yeah.
So I kept going on interviews and I'm not getting a job. I'm like, but wait a minute. I set up the infrastructure. I wrote all the workshops.
Yeah.
I set up a 2nd chapter, the 3rd chapter. What you mean that's not on my resume because I'm a volunteer? Girl, bye. Right?
Yeah.
So literally, I finally got an interview. And on the plaque, it said, a woman who was interviewing me, she had her degree on the wall. Her plaque said, Masters of Social Work. And every job I was applying for, it said you needed an MSW. You know, I didn't know what that was. Right? So I was like, oh, Masters of Social Work, that's what that is. So I went and got one of those. So how did I know? I didn't know. I had no savings. You know, when you're 20 something working in entertainment, when I made a lot of money, I bought a whole lot of shoes. Let me keep it all the way
Yes,
real, okay?
yeah.
Right.
So I didn't have savings, okay? When I decided to go back to school, there was no, mommy, can you pay for this? It's called a student loan that I'm still paying on to this day, right? So literally, I just had to do it, afraid. And that's the biggest lesson I've learned in my whole journey is every time you're doing something bigger than where you are, you're scared.
Yes.
And you have fear doesn't go away. People say, wait till fear goes away. No.
it
I remember
does
I
not
was on
go
this
away.
mastermind call for a coaching group I was in, and Ayanna Van Zant was the teacher on this particular call, and she said, if you don't feel like you need to pee on yourself sometimes, and I did say pee, you ain't playing big enough.
Oh, she ain't lying. That's the truth.
And
right
that's
there.
how I felt. So in that moment for me, when I was living entertainment, now I kept one foot in the door. I always had some side hustle going while I was in school. Like I worked at the Comedy Store. So after I left Martin, I worked for Russell Simmons and Stan Lathan. Stan Lathan is a director. Started a management company. I was a management associate there, so I worked with the Def Comedy Jam comedians. I'm only telling you that story because I worked at the Comedy Store at night. I was in grad school because I needed to eat.
Yes.
Right. So I had 3 jobs while I was in grad school. So that was one. The other 2 had to do with school. And so literally, I kept one foot in the door just so I could eat and do this thing.
Yeah.
Right. And so was it easy? Mm-mm. Would I do it all over again? Yes.
Yeah.
I remember having to get up at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. to do my homework. And it's because if I stayed up late, I don't retain late, right? I can have a good time partying late, but I can't retain anything I read after 10 p.m. So I would have to get up at 4 a.m. just to do my homework, right?
That's
because
me.
I had 3
That's
other
me
jobs.
all day long.
Right.
Like I honestly, it takes me 3 hours to do what takes me 30 minutes to do in the morning.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And
All the
I'm
time.
just kind of existing after
Exactly.
10.
And after I'm nodding off, and then I wake
I'm
up
not
like, where
thinking,
was I?
though.
Right. And so I had to make a lot of sacrifices in that moment. So did it feel good? None of it felt good. But I kept thinking seed time and harvest. Every seed I plant now, and I'm only saying that right now because my pastor preached on this yesterday. So don't think I'm being all extra
Fresh
deep.
rhema.
Right, this is fresh. Right. So it was seed time and harvest, and every seed, every decision I was making that didn't feel good, I kept thinking this is for my good. If I can hang in there at 4 a.m. because I had 3 jobs, y'all. So that means I would get up at 4 a.m. and I wouldn't get home till after 10. Okay, I had 3 jobs plus I'm in grad school. Grad school ain't easy.
No, it's
I ain't
not.
never read that much in my entire life. I was like, what? How many chapters and how many books? Right? And so I kept saying, if I could just hang in there. And because I did that then, and even after I graduated from graduate school, my master's degree is in social work. Let me keep it all the way real. Social workers don't make no money.
Yeah.
So I still had to have 2 other jobs to pay for my nighttime calling.
Yeah.
Right? And so I kept that 4 a.m. in the morning schedule to work my own job while I had to go to my daytime job. And because I did that now, I work in my fierce, is what I call it, full time. So
I love
love
that
it.
because what I heard was an intersection that takes place. And every person comes to that. It's a crossroad.
Yep.
It's an intersection.
Yep.
You got conviction and you have convenience. And you have to make a choice. And Tiffany the Budgetnista, who's our bae, shout out to our bae,
Yes. Love
Tiffany
me some Tiffany.
Budgetnista,
Yes.
talks about abandoning the boat.
That's
And
good.
yes, and it's a big piece of what you have to do when you come to that crossroad.
Yep.
A lot of us want to try to carry some convenience with us.
Yep.
And I hear about the sacrifice that you made during that time frame. I also hear about you being smart and savvy enough to know, all right, if I want to eat, I'm going to have to sacrifice my sleep time. Like, I'm not going to sacrifice the conviction and the calling.
Yes.
I'm going to sacrifice some of the other conveniences that I used to have, which might be sleep, which might be hanging out, all the extracurricular things that we like to cling to when we are going in our conviction. But that is so major. Conviction and convenience you get to that, and we all know it. We all know that point.
And here's the other thing you got to let go of. You just made me think about this when you said this. You've got to let go of the friends that are in your ear talking against your dream, that desire, that purpose, that I really call it your fierce, because fierce to me is bigger than purpose. It's like purpose on fire. And when you're on fire, you will have friends that don't get it. Not because they don't love you. They just don't get it. It's just like when you're pregnant. Can't nobody see that baby the first trimester but you.
Yeah.
Right?
And they
You
don't know
feel
what's
it.
brewing on the inside.
They can't see
That's
it.
so true.
And so you've got to be focused. That's why vision boards are so popular, because it keeps you focused on your dream. Right? Write the vision and make it plain. So when the vision is there, people aren't going to get it because they're not running toward it.
Especially in the beginning.
Yes.
So people see things once they've seen them, right? But in the beginning of something, only you see it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're seeing something that hasn't happened in the physical yet.
Yeah.
And
Doesn't
so
make
sometimes
sense.
that looks really crazy. So even you talk about friends, but even sometimes family.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And people who adore you and love you and
Yes.
would go hard for you. you
They just
can't
don't get it.
they just don't get
And
it.
the truth of it is, sometimes even when you're at the beginning stage, you can't really articulate it. You just know it and you see it, and it's the equivalent of like running in an open field, and and you just running loose, and
Yes.
everybody's like, "Where is she running?" You know exactly where you're going, but you can't really fully put words to it.
Right.
And let's not forget that sometimes we carry this dude with us that needs to he got to be released. He's not
Right.
ready to be the one in that
Right,
season.
right.
And sometimes there's a
Ooh, I'll
relationship.
pass some of those.
Have you ever had
Oh, I could write a book on this. Go ahead, ask the question, girl.
I want to know because I don't I know our great girlfriends. And for those of you that listen, Nicole is happily married, and so she's in the village with Brandis and I in terms of happy marriage. But this
I done
was
kissed
not
a lot of toes.
we
though.
did we weren't born happily married, and we keep trying to tell these girlfriends.
And let me tell you, so many people think I got married at 37. Okay, so those of you that are still in your 30s, or even if you're in your early 40s and you haven't met him yet, let me tell you how many frogs I had to kiss before I got to my prince.
Yeah.
And because I've been doing this since 1993, so I started at 23. I know you didn't ask me this, but I think I know where she was going, so let me say it. If
No,
I don't
go,
say it,
girl.
then ask me another
Yeah.
question. So all the men I dated from 23 to, I started dating Daryl at 34, okay? All the men that I dated didn't get it. They would either, because the majority of my work is done on the weekends, right? Especially when I was working with teenage girls, it'd be at night and on Saturdays. And I used to do sleepovers with my girls. So Friday night, most Friday nights, we'd be at the church sleeping over, and then when we got tired of being at church, we'd be at my house sleeping over, right? And so I would have a fight. But most of the men I dated, like, who you with on Friday? Drive past the church, you will see my car in the parking lot. Come by the house, you will see all these girls at my house. I'm not going to argue with you. This is my purpose. You don't get to choose what I do.
Right.
Right? And so every man I dated until I met Daryl, and I'm going to tell you guys, I was so bitter when I met Daryl. Matter of fact, let me back up. Before I started dating Daryl, my last bad breakup, I felt like every man had the same script because they kept cheating on me the same way. It's like, well, and I realized I was the one that didn't know my worth. Oh, we could do a whole radio show on that, right? So remember, I told you I didn't who I wasn't. I was still, even though I started doing this great thing I was called to do, I still didn't know my worth in my relationships. So I remember this last bad breakup, and I said, Lord, I'm done. I'm going to be married to you. It's going to be me and you, my ride or die, ride or live. It's going to be me and you, Lord. I'm done, right? And Daryl was a fix-up, right? Our best friends who aren't married anymore fixed us up, right? And so I was like, you know what? I'm so done. I'm going to let him wine and dine me, and he's going to be my friend. You know, I'm going to let him occupy my time. That's how I felt because I was so done.
If
right?
you're treating, I'm eating.
I'm gonna let him, and I'm not a gold digger by any means, but I was like, I'm gonna be one right now, right? That's how I felt because I was so done, right? And he literally, because he lived in New York and I lived in LA, we had the phone and we got to know one another. And the other piece to it is I call my mother-in-law my mentor mother-in-law because she's much like me. She was on the YWCA board, so he grew up around a woman like me. So my husband, I mean, if I could even try to verbalize how supportive he is, I've never, now every now and then he does get spoiled and say, you know, I miss you and why do you have to go? And I remember one time I was getting ready to go on stage and he calls me and I always try to answer the phone when he calls and I answer it. And don't think I'm mean, hear the whole story, okay? So I answer the phone, I go, hi, and he goes, I miss you. I said, I can't talk to you right now. I can't deal with this. I'm getting ready to go speak. I can't be bothered with you right now. Because I couldn't be thinking about him and pour it to the people. So I hung up on him, right? And somebody standing next to me said that was so mean. I was like, I'll call him later. I can't with that right now. And those of you that whether you speak, whether you coach, you know, you have to be fully present for the people. And I couldn't have him in the back of my mind worrying about my husband when I'm trying to pour into people. So right after he texted me and he said, I'm so sorry, I'm being spoiled, I realized that it's your job to pour into people and it's my job to pour into you.
Come on, Daryl.
So I'm only sharing that with you because I'm telling you, I was done with men. And my husband was the first man that got it, that I didn't have to compromise who I was. You know, so many of my girlfriends told me I was being too picky and you need to stop being so bossy. And I am a boss at work, but that's not who I am in my relationship. I want to be all woman. I want you to boss me. You be the CEO in the household. Can I be the CEO in my business and you be the CEO in the household? So it's really understanding for me in that moment, I could have been bitter and missed my blessing. And I was bitter for a minute.
I mean, and isn't that the story of so many?
I
think you just
seriously
wrote the script.
But I want you guys to get is there is a man out there for you. I believe that God puts that desire in our heart. If the desire is in your heart, you're meant to have it. Just trust that it's coming and don't compromise it. Don't settle. I settled. Every man I dated before Daryl, I settled. I would then, like for instance, the guy I dated before my husband, I'm not going to say names just in case, but he was a politician. And he had asked me to stop doing my nonprofit while he was running for office. So I said, okay, but I never let it go. I'm like, you ain't going to stop working with my girls just because you running for office. So I did all the things he wanted me to do while he was running for office and still doing my nonprofit. So when he won, I then showed him all the stuff. Do you know he got mad at me?
Wow.
Really, I've been walking precincts every Saturday. I've been this, that, and the other, and you're still mad at me.
Wow.
Right. But that's how so many men would get mad at me because I had a platform. And I believe both of you can have a platform and coexist. And one, you don't have to compromise one for the other.
Absolutely. Yes.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, let's take a commercial break and jump right back in. Great girlfriends, do you have your ticket to the 2018 Doers and Disruptors Conference? If not, what are you waiting for? Join us in New York for a 2-day event filled with brilliant doers and disruptors across various industries who started with an idea and blossomed to become great change agents. We can't wait to join with you for workshops, panels, connect groups, dance breaks, light bites, and more, while giving you tips and resources to fulfill your passion in your personal lives, careers, businesses, motherhood, and relationships. Log on to thegreatgirlfriendsconference.com and get a ticket for yourself and your greatest girlfriends. We'll see you there.
You know that firsthand. And great girlfriends, you've seen it. You see our husbands.
Yes.
You come to the conference, you see our husbands, and we talk about them often. And we honor them because they honor us.
Yes.
They never ask us to dim our lights.
Right. Yes.
Neither one of our husbands. Rich supports me like he supports Brandis.
Yeah.
If I need something, Rich is there. Kwaku's there for Brandis and Kwaku talk on the phone. It's support. It's love.
And it's
they
strength.
love everything about us.
It's strength.
Yeah.
See, it takes a strong woman to support and love a strong. It takes a strong man to love and support a strong woman.
But
Absolutely.
vice versa. You're absolutely right. And
Absolutely.
I mean, that is something that is so important that I'm hearing from you, Nicole, is so consistent, is not compromising.
Right.
Not compromising on what's important. Now, there are compromises we make on the back end of things that really are not important to the grand scheme. There's a grand scheme of things, the fierce grand scheme of things. But there are micro things that we have to let go of. What are some of the things that are on the micro side? Like you said, you were a shoe heavy sister in your 20s.
Yes.
What were some of the things that, as you moved into your fierce place, that you saw as sacrifices in order to get there and grow there?
What's interesting, I don't call it sacrifices. I call it really, it's honoring the dignity of the human spirit. So it's my humanity honors the humanity in you. So for me, and even with my girlfriends, right? Because you're not going to always agree with your girlfriend, and it's okay, right? So for me, being in a relationship, so my husband was married before, and he calls it having 3 lives. So it's his life, my life, and our life together. So what I mean by that, I don't mean my life like I'm going to cheat, and neither is he. But, I have a full, rich, complete career without that Daryl's not a part of. Just like he has a full, rich, and then we have a full, rich life that we have together. But here's the other piece. There are roles that I play in our relationship, and there are roles that he plays. But it may be different in everybody else's relationship. Like, I suck at washing dishes. So he washes dishes, right? So it's really understanding what works for you in your relationship and trying things out. So I don't think I've ever had to compromise. The other things I've had to learn, like, for instance, I travel a lot. So my whole schedule's on the refrigerator. So he knows where I'm going to be. So he doesn't have to ask me, are you going to be here this weekend? He can look and we can make plans. Does that make sense?
Right.
So I've learned little things that can honor him in our relationship while still honoring what I do. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I haven't had to compromise in this relationship because I find out what my partner needs. There's a book called The 5 Love Languages. So even knowing his love language and what makes him feel good. So when I am home, like for instance, I'm going home tonight and I leave again in the morning. So I cooked dinner for the whole week yesterday with Daryl. He was so excited, right? So I know those little things make him excited, and it honors him for the week while I'm gone.
Yes. I got stuff in a crock pot right now.
I do that too.
Right.
Yep.
Absolutely. It's so important.
And just getting to know each other, spending the time and we do this with our girlfriends.
Right.
We know what our girlfriends love. We
Right.
know what they need. We know certain of them need more text. Some just want a little gift every now and then. It's doing that same thing in our relationship.
Absolutely.
And that's really what I've done. So I don't feel like I've had to compromise anything. I will say in every relationship prior to Daryl, I did. But here, although some people may look at it like a compromise, I don't, because it doesn't feel like a compromise.
It's an honor. And that's that's a big distinction when you're with the right partner. Is that it's an honor to do certain things that would have struggled before. Now, I don't always feel honorable. I'm gonna keep it 100. I don't always feel honorable when I'm doing some of the things that I know honors the relationship.
Right.
But I'm working on the grand scheme.
Right. Like,
So
I don't always feel like cooking, but
in
look.
my feelings.
Right.
I know.
Because I have feelings.
We all
Well,
do.
you know what? But that applies to everything in
Yes.
life.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, if we only did what we felt like doing,
Oh, man.
our life
like,
would look
I
a
would
lot
be-
different.
We talked about this. Did I
totally
ever feel like getting up at 4 a.m.? Heck to the no.
Right.
Whoever ever feels like getting up at 4 a.m. But
Yeah.
it's all about what do I
Yeah.
need to seed time and harvest again,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So when you think about the seeds you're pouring in, my pastor said something else that was deep a couple weeks ago. He said a tree cannot grow deep and tall at the same time. And so when you think about it, all the deepness, all the things you're doing in your relationship when you don't feel like doing, that's growing deep.
Yeah,
the
it
tall is
is.
what you can see.
Yeah.
But think about a tree,
The
an oak
roots.
tree. If the roots
Yeah.
aren't there, if it's tall, it's just going to fall over when the wind
Yeah.
blows.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
fact that you take the time in your relationship when you don't feel like it, because trust, there's days I'm like,
I know.
Yeah.
but I do it because I want my relationship to grow deep and not
Yeah.
tall.
It's so true.
Same with your career, your everything, right?
Yes.
Everything. Even in, dare I say, in my life as a 48-year-old woman, I just said how old I am. Yes, I did. I'll be 49 this year. So I want to grow deep, right?
Yeah.
So that means that if I want to last and do this thing that I do I like exercising? I hate working out.
That's a real hate right there.
I had to emphasize that because I will not. I love sugar. I love all things cake, cookies, all of that. But if I
Yes.
want to really be able to do all these things, I got to make some choices.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that's the same in life in general. You know, whether it's health or it's relationships, whether it's, you know, even hair, you got to make choices.
Okay, now since you brought up the food thing, because Nicole's sitting here, and I mean, literally, like, you look absolutely incredible.
Yes.
It's just-
Super
The
fit.
struggle is real.
Yes.
Super fit. Like, so I have to ask, as Sybil and I are on this new fitness journey, and great girlfriends, don't roll your eyes and say y'all always on some journey. But
It's life.
But life is a journey.
It's life. That's what it is. Don't judge us.
Right.
they're like, yeah, y'all were doing the green smoothie cleanse last year with Scott.
You know, but here we are again.
Here we are again, getting our summer bodies ready.
Right.
But Nicole, you look like you have it down. What do
Okay,
you
so-
do?
Okay, so in full disclosure, I went to Italy in November and I ate every piece of pizza, every pasta I could eat, and I gained 20 pounds. Okay. So the stuff I was doing before wasn't working. I'm a woman of a certain age. You just heard me say. So all the stuff I was doing wasn't working. So the other thing you guys should know is your metabolism changes every 10
It
years
absolutely.
too.
Oh, yes.
So you have to invest at the level to which you want to see the return. I'm going to say that one more time because somebody just needed that word today. You have to invest at the level to which you want to see the return.
Yes.
So I paid for a health coach. So I went to medical weight loss, right? Because I had a trainer, but I needed to learn how to eat.
Right.
You know, it's 80% what you eat and 20% working out,
Right.
Yes.
right? So, and I told you I like cake, cookies, pasta, I love it all. So what I did was she trained me how to eat. So I really eat a low carb diet.
Right.
So the carbs I will not, and when I went there, I said, let me tell you now, I'm not going to let go of alcohol, so you can take that off the list, right? Take it off the list.
Have your glass of wine.
I'm going to have wine, I'm going to have a martini, I'm sorry. So I have to be very, very particular with, if I know I'm going to have, and I'm going to keep it real, if I know on Friday is date night when I'm at home, I'm going to have a martini. That's a lot of carbs.
Right.
So let me make sure I look at the rest of my carbs for the day. I find that if I do that, just that one shift has helped.
Right.
That's really how I lost my weight. So I really only eat protein and veggie for the most part. And then I
Wow.
just
And-
choose my carbs.
And how often do you work out?
On a good week,
Yeah.
I'm supposed to work out 3 days, 4, 5 on an excellent week. But yeah, about 2. 2 days usually, 2 or 3.
Yeah,
It just
okay.
depends.
Yeah.
But
the
if you eat
food,
right,
yeah.
it's 80% what you eat.
That's what Kristen
if you
Pope
eat
told
right.
me.
My
Mhm.
big issue is wanting to do a cheeseburger,
Yes.
fries,
But you can do the burger, just don't eat the bread.
martini. No, girl, you know I want my bun. Now you know I want my bun,
Right,
Nicole.
right.
And then I want a pop of
Seed
dessert.
time and harvest.
Right, and then I want to do this at 9 o'clock at night, and then
Right.
and that's where I go
Girl.
wrong every
So
time.
here's what I do. If I know I want dessert, okay, if I know that I'm going to have dessert, then I pay attention to what else I eat that day.
Yeah.
So you just got to choose.
Oh, I totally have. I'm like, I can have salad.
But
no
depending on the
dressing.
salad, it might. Yeah.
See,
'Cause
I
the
don't
dressing is
compromise
hard.
on
Spinach,
dressing.
I mean, because I can't,
It
because
can
I
have
know I
pause.
want my
Depends.
treat later.
Right.
So I know I'm like a puppy. Like I have to I'm hungry for my treat. I prefer the sugar over anything
Me too.
else.
I'm a sugarholic.
The ice cream, all that stuff. But I've had to had to
And here's the
modify.
thing: when you go to the store, not that I'm gonna give you guys a whole course because I only know what I know. Okay? So,
Yeah.
but I'm now pay attention to the label. So
Yeah,
if you look
absolutely.
and look at how many carbs are in that. So
Yeah.
on a healthy day, you're supposed to have between 50 and again, I'm not a nutritionist. So those of you that are gonna write a comment on the bottom of whatever. Okay, I'm doing what I retain. I told you how old I am, so I may not be retaining this all right. But anyway, so you're supposed to have between 50 and like 80 something carbs a day. So not that I count because I can't really, but I try to be mindful. So now I
Right.
stay within my 80. But this weekend I had a piece of cake on Friday and Saturday. You know, so I already know I was over carb. So when I do eat extra carbs, then I'll make sure I run the next day.
Yeah.
I hate running, by the way, but I have to make choices.
Yeah.
If I'm going to eat this piece of cake, the whole piece, not a bite, then I try. Now, I'll be honest with you. On Sunday morning, I didn't feel like getting up to run. I had to get up at 6 to be able to go to church and all that. But I kept saying, get your fat butt up. This is how I talk to myself. Get your
is
fat.
you
And I'm
talking
not
to
fat. And I'm not fat. But I kept saying, get your fat butt up.
But you're talking to your inner big girl, and I have one. So I
Right,
just
right.
want my inner big girl. Here's your inner big girl, and I want to honor the
Right.
fact that you talk to her that way because I do the same thing.
And I kept saying it
It's
over
an
and over.
inner big girl.
Over and over and over. So I did get up. I didn't run for 45 minutes. I did 30 because it took me 15 extra minutes to talk myself into it, and I didn't have enough time. But you've got to make choices. That's so I've learned that it's about choices.
It's choices.
I love it. I love it. So tell us about the work you do now.
Sure. So really what I do is I help women create multiple streams of income from what they already know.
I love that.
So here's what I learned in that moment of epiphany for myself in 1993. When I began to stand in the full power of who I be, and I do mean to say be, I mean to say incorrect English. When I began to stand in the full power of who I be, I realized there were people that needed me. Just the same way that there are people that need you. So here's what I've learned. There's a Bible verse that says, whom he foreknew, he predestined, right? And God foreknew all of us or else we wouldn't be here.
right.
Okay, number one. So if he put you here, I believe he put us all here on assignment. So when we stand in the full power of our gift and we become the answer to all the people that need you, then you should be getting paid for it. So that's really what I do.
Absolutely.
I help women stand in the full power of who they were born to be and then get paid for it.
What's an example of? Give me a case study.
Sure. So if I use Deborah Tillman as an example, I like to use. Deborah is the Lifetime Super Nanny, our America's Super Nanny. I met her at Black Enterprise Conference in 2014, I believe it was. And many of you guys know who Deborah is. And this is why I'm using her for an example. So she teaches parents how to parent their children. So she's speaking all over the country, right? And because she speaks and she travels so much, she can only take a certain number of clients, right? And when you only work with people one-to-one, you already are minimizing the number of people you can work with,
And that's
right?
called B2C for those
Right.
that are listening.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So literally, we were talking at the conference and, she wanted to be able to serve more people. And so to make a long story short, she hired me. And so we started working. And I believe everybody has what I call a fierce formula. So by the way, those of you that wonder what fierce is, let me do a commercial break real quick so you understand what I'm talking about. Of course, you know who Beyonce is. You know her name on stage, Sasha. So all of us have our own fierce in us when we stand in the full power of our gift. That's what I mean by fierce, okay?
Yeah.
So you don't have to stand on the stage. It could be a boardroom, a classroom, whatever that is. You have fierce in you, okay? So back to the Deborah Tillman story. So that was my commercial, so you understand.
love it.
So what I do is I help my clients create a fierce formula, meaning that there's a formulaic way that you do what you do. You have a methodology in you and you don't realize it.
Right.
So Deborah was fighting me. She was like, no, I tailor my experience for every client. And how many of you guys say that? There's something I do unique with every person, girl, bye.
Right.
Now, I'm not going to have the same conversation everywhere I go,
Right.
but Nicole doesn't change. I wake up every morning and guess who I am? Nicole, right? I can't shift and decide I'm going to be Brandis today. That ain't going to work, right?
Right.
No matter how hard I try, I can't be Sybil on a
Yeah.
good day, right?
Yeah.
So I gave her some exercises to do to really figure out her formula, and she called me on her second call crying. Because she didn't realize there's a methodology. So once you figure out there's a 5-step, a 6-step, a 7-step process in you around your gift and how you move people from symptom to solution, we can create multiple streams of income. Meaning
Yes.
that you should have programs that I call it making money while you sleep.
Yes.
Like right now I'm here with you and somebody's watching a program that I'm not there.
Exactly.
So here's the
Mailbox.
thing that I get excited about. So with Deborah, you know how many families she was leaving behind because she didn't have enough time?
Yeah.
Right.
So by creating, she has a group, the system she created is called GPS, the Greater Parenting System. So now she has online programs, she has group programs. So now, there's several ways that she can serve families and no family behind. So just think about, what does that look like when you are able to create multiple ways someone can say yes to you? That number one, you make a difference in more people's lives, and you make money while you do it.
Absolutely.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Nicole, you look back, you talked to 20-year-old Nicole. What would you tell her?
I would tell her, number one, trust yourself. Trust yourself, love yourself, and stop looking for an outside answer to an inside indication.
So then you get to 30-year-old Nicole. What are you telling her?
Girl, leave all them men, leave all them the scrubs alone. Now, it's interesting. I started working on myself at 23, but it took me till about 30 to get it. 34 really, when I had that last bad breakup, and then I stopped and said, "What are you doing?" You go to all these workshops and trainings and conferences and coaches, and you get all this information, but are you applying the information? At 30, I finally applied it.
So you said no more scrubs. Y'all better be listening and write this down. And then you get to 40-year-old Nicole, and what are you telling her?
At 40, I fully stopped. I'm a light-skinned African-American woman, for those of you that can't see me. And a seed got planted in me at 5 that said, someone told me I wasn't black enough, right? And so that's when that not being enough got planted in me. Because not being black enough just becomes you're not enough over time, right? As if there's some black place that tells you how black you are, but that's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, so at 40, I finally stopped caring. I don't care anymore. If you don't, I remember I was on a Facebook Live and somebody said, "Nicole, you're a lot." I said, "I'm a whole lot for you." And people were like, "Nicole, you're funny." I was like, so I don't care if you don't like me. I'm not meant to work with everybody. But whoever is for me, it's because you are assigned to me, just like I'm assigned to you. So at 40, I don't care anymore.
Yes. And you don't have to force it.
Brandon's had that epiphany at 40. Brandon was like, certain things you just don't care no more.
It's just
whatever's meant
the
to be,
most
shall be.
Amazing thing.
It's liberating.
It's so freeing.
It's so freeing.
It's whatever's meant to be shall be.
Yes.
And I don't stress anymore. And my husband goes, "Oh, here we go," because I'll go. He's like, "Oh, whatever's meant to be shall be," right? I do that in the parking lot too, He goes, "Oh, here come a parking angel," and as soon as he says that, a car comes out.
There it is.
We park in the front.
But you know why that's so big? Because so many of us are trying to be for everyone. And we trying to target the world, and it hurts us. It's to our detriment because we wake up one day and realize that we do have a specific audience for everything that we do, and we're not going to please everyone all the time, and we shouldn't.
Yep. And when you try to be everything for everyone, you're nothing to no one.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. And honestly, you start diluting who you are because you keep trying to fit, and you want to be palatable in places where you really it's not your place.
It's just not your place. I'm telling you. And what ends up happening, things started clicking, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And it may not click, but once a quarter you might click. The click might happen, right?
But when it clicks,
or it might be once a year that the click might happen. But it's the most amazing thing, just fully standing. Because I used to try to hold my light back all the time.
Yep, me too.
All
Me
the
too.
time.
Yep.
People bring. I love talking about what I like to talk about.
Yep.
Everybody don't like to hear it all the time.
Yeah.
But guess what? I don't care anymore.
right.
Yeah.
I talk about it now on my timeline, on my Instagram timeline. That way, if you want to see it, you can see
got
it.
an
If you don't
option.
want to see
Right.
it, you can unfollow me. I don't care.
Right.
Yeah.
But now it's like I used to just try to hold myself back, who I was so much, because people didn't want to hear it. And they would say, "Oh, here she is again. Here
And
we
that's
go
called-
again."
Look, and now I call that a hater.
And now the people who I'm closest to are people who are just like me.
Yes.
And so it works because they want to hear what I got to say and I want to hear what they got to say, and it clicks.
Yes.
But it's interesting. There's an evolution that takes place because you've been consistent. Ever since I've known Branda's, it's been a consistent message about multicultural designers. And if I could just get these designers to get exposures, we're only 1% in the fashion industry. Like, I've known this and known it and started to care because Branda's cared so much.
Right.
But what I saw over time was that as more people evolved and wanted to articulate and grow confident in their message, they start to pay attention more to what you were saying about your message. And it mattered more to them because they realized over time that your consistency and the way you honored your message was something they aspired to do.
Yep.
And I can remember people who were uninterested in HFR
You
many
know.
moons ago who are now fully like on the front line, HFR cheer, and I'm like, well, welcome to the party, because what they realized was that there was something consistent about a person who can honor their purpose
Yes,
and bring
yes.
value to other people and never give up on it, and they too want to do the same thing.
Right.
And a lot of times we're so busy promoting other people's message. It could be our company. I could work for a certain company. I
Yeah.
promote that company for years until that company drops me, and then I'm looking around like, what do I do?
Right.
And I see people who were always anchored in their purpose,
Yes.
and I want to learn how they do what they do.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you shouldn't support your company, but I am saying that you have a unique identity that belongs to you that is worth propelling.
Yes.
At
And
the front.
Let me say it like this: you've been building somebody else's $1 billion brand, and there's a $1
Absolutely.
billion brand in
Inside of
you.
you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right?
And it's like when you forego that purpose, like you were talking about when you met your husband, and like when somebody pulls that away from you, the ability to fully put your arms around your purpose, you're literally like a little piece of you is dying.
Yes, yes.
And it's like, how do you become, or how do you even raise children
Right.
to become all that they can be when that little bit, like you've allowed that piece of you
Girl.
to die,
And
and
if you
it's
let that piece die and you're in a relationship, that means that he doesn't know all of you.
yes,
part
and
of
it's
you.
so, and that is
Yeah.
just. I honestly, that like hurts my heart, like
Yeah.
thinking about it.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know,
You know,
because
you guys said something that made me think of, I'm going to mess up this quote. Marion Williamson said, when you let your light shine, you
Yes.
unconsciously encourage
Allow
allow others
others
to do the
light to
same.
shine.
Yes.
And so what happens is when we all are standing out, two things happen, right?
yes,
People that go, ooh, girl, ooh, I like what you're doing, because what you're doing, you're calling their light out. And then they say,
Yes.
ooh, show me how.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you also are calling the haters' light out, too.
Absolutely.
And they're
Yes.
not ready.
yes,
So they either do one of two things. They either look at you like, who she thinks she is?
yes,
Or they just sit silent and don't say anything. They
Right.
don't encourage
And
it.
they
They
pay close
don't.
attention, too.
And then they come back around.
Yes.
Eventually.
Yes.
Because now they
paying
get it.
close attention.
Oh,
They
they
won't
do.
ever. They won't ever like. They won't ever
But they be
repost. They
all
won't
up-
ever. But
up
they
and through.
watching. They
Right.
are watching
Yes.
every single move. And,
Because I've seen it happen. I've been doing this for 25 years. I've seen friends that have sat silent. I'll call them sitting on the bench,
Yeah.
right? Or they're watching the game in the stands.
yes.
And then there's people that the haters I call are playing on the opposing team that will do stuff to you, and they're not doing it on purpose. I don't think some of them don't do it consciously, but they're doing things that are really trying to take the ball out of your hand and win
Absolutely.
for the other side. And it's only because what happens is when people are hating on you is you're calling their light out too, and they're not ready.
Yeah.
That's not your responsibility. So at my 40s, I realized that's not
you
my
took that
responsibility.
away. From,
Yeah.
Yes,
That's your responsibility. You had that baby. Go on with your hater.
Yes.
You know, it's interesting you say that too, because you think about it. In the 20s, you gathering, right? You collecting
Yes.
as many people as you can, and then in the 30s, you take that quantity and quality of people in your life, and you start sifting. I mean, people start showing up in their 30s. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, whoa, they showing up in their way. But in 40, you really start refining.
You're like, bye.
You like, go ahead and just drop. I need you to drop.
That's
really
what.
far.
Look, somebody in their 40s wrote "Bye, Felicia." I'm sure. Because that is fully how I feel.
But
Bye,
I'm
Felicia.
telling you, it's like I woke up at 40 and I started to be like, oh.
Bye, Felicia.
I told someone
She
that
did tell
40
me.
was amazing.
And you know, I'm a gatherer. Just so you know, I gather people. I harvest them. I'm like, come on in, and then once I let you in, and I'm like, and you in there. And when you drop, I be mad for a minute, but
Yeah.
right
'Cause it
around
hurts.
40, I was like, go ahead and drop, please.
But it still hurts.
because
Keep
I'm
in
doing
mind.
something and I don't need you there.
But your heart doesn't shift. So
No, my
I
heart
get it.
doesn't
Because
shift.
people drop.
But my prioritization of the pain shifts.
Hello.
I care a lot. I care a lot
Yeah.
less.
Yeah.
I see things more clearly. My mindset is elevated.
Yeah.
But it's so interesting because you do think about the stages of it, and it's and you know, you kind of in 20s you're getting rid of that high school mentality and you're growing into a woman.
At least
You're
you're
not
trying to
really
figure
clear.
out yourself, right?
And then in 30s, you know, you start doing some real life things. You start making decisions, and people start to define whether they start to, you know, position themselves differently.
Yeah,
Oh, you
yeah.
bought a hot house. I'm jealous. Or oh, you did this. You got married. You don't. You got a kid, or whatever happened.
Right.
People start to, you know, form their opinions, and you start to see people's hearts. But
Yeah.
at 40, you definitely there's a phase out that happens, and it is intentional. You become very intentional. And I think at 50, you got your core 4. I don't know what happens. I'm
At
not
50,
sure how it
I'll
works.
let you know next
Let
year.
us
I
know.
am actually excited about it. And I love this because there are some great girlfriends, because our great girlfriends, the age range, I mean, we really
It's
have a
absolutely-
wide
yeah.
range. And so I love that our great girlfriends in their 20s can hear this and
Yeah.
say, oh, wow, I have something great to look forward
Yeah,
to. Because
yeah.
sometimes, they get to 28 and feel like they're old.
Yeah.
I hear it all the time.
Oh my goodness, and I'm tripping off of that.
I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
But, I love that they're hearing this conversation because you don't always hear people talk about age in this way.
Yeah.
And even at
absolutely.
28, when you start to have that moment where you're starting to shift in a good way,
Yeah.
and your other 28, 26, 27-year-old friends are shifting too, you can't talk to them about it because they don't know what's happening no more than you do.
Yeah.
No.
So it's
Right.
great to have a seasoned, because I'm not old,
Right.
I'm seasoned.
Right.
A seasoned
Yes.
sister around you that can say, girl, I've been
Yeah.
there, done that. Let me tell you what that is.
Yes.
And show you the way. Let me put some light on your path
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
Right? You'll be
Absolutely.
okay.
Absolutely.
So Nicole, what do you want your legacy to be?
What do I want
Y'all
my
see
legacy
this
to
just
be?
the closing question, but yeah, what is your legacy?
I want my legacy to be that when I leave this world, that God will say, well done. You did exactly the job you were meant to do. And you did it with great skin and some fabulous shoes.
Yes. Look, so in your casket, you'll have your foot kicked out.
right.
I love it. No, that's absolutely amazing. I love it.
Do you want to shout out some great girlfriends that's been like
You
a
know,
part of your journey
I
in
feel
a great way?
I feel like we have a whole crew in Boston, and I feel like we're the
Y'all so
Boston
cute.
Great Girlfriend chapter. So I have to
Yes.
You
just
really are.
shout out Kristen Pope, who started
Yes.
the whole group of us in Boston. That
You know, she introduced Brandis and I in
Look at that.
2008.
The great girlfriend.
that girl's
We were
such a
being great
connector.
girlfriends,
Yes.
and
She is such a great
introduced
connector.
us.
So I just want to give her the biggest shout out because she really pulled together a village of us
Yeah.
that are really there for one another in a way. And I've been in Boston for 12 years, and I know a lot of people, but for the first time, because I travel so much, it's hard for me to stay in touch.
Yeah.
But she intentionally has brought us together, and it's been so rewarding. So I just want to give her a big shout out. Then Keisha, I'm about to say Brown, which is her maiden name, Wright, who actually lives here in New York, is my great girlfriend and invited me to that youth lock-in in 1992.
Aw.
Had she not done
Keisha?
that night, I wouldn't be here now. And there's so many great girlfriends in my journey. I don't want to start naming names because somebody emailed me and said, "Girl, you left me out." So I love all of y'all.
But I think it's important to talk about like how great girlfriends because we talk about just how they kind of can push you along that journey
Yeah.
too.
And what's amazing to me is to have a village that extends from California all the way to Boston, and,
Yeah.
even abroad. And because I have girlfriends that have moved, I have a woman on my team that lives in Copenhagen, and people go, "Where's she come from?" She's from Jersey. Her husband moved to Copenhagen. Girl, But anyway, but I love how we all of them play different roles.
Yeah.
So think about a basketball team. Everybody has different roles. Nobody plays the same role, and I love that. I know the girlfriends I can call when I want to cry. I know the girlfriends to call when I need to go to happy hour. I need the girlfriends to call when I need some marriage advice. So you know who to go to for what. And I love that we all have a village that we can go to for anything. And the other thing I love about just being a woman is that you can meet people the same day and just tell everything. Men don't do that.
No, they don't.
Men don't do
They
that.
don't.
And so I love
They're
that.
missing out, aren't they?
Right.
They are missing out.
I love
'Cause
that.
We just came in and vibe together.
I love that you can come
Yeah.
in and when you're open to it, because every woman's
Yes.
not. When you're open to it, you can just let your whole heart be open, and you just receive so much love. And so I really love that about being a woman.
Yeah.
I love
Oh,
that.
Nicole, we love you.
Yeah, I love you
Bae.
guys too.
My
Yay.
new bae.
My new bae. Look, and what'd you call me earlier? Dope bae.
Yes, it's our dope bae. So Nicole, they're gonna be looking for you on the internet.
Yes.
Tell us where they can find you on the internet.
So let's see. NicoleRobertsJones.com is my website. So on Instagram and Twitter, I'm in Roberts Jones because my name is too long. Tried to honor my daddy and my husband, Roberts Jones. And then Facebook is the Fierce Factor Lab with Nicole Roberts Jones.
Oh, Nicole,
I
thank
love it.
you
This has
so
been
much.
so
And can I give a free gift? Just
Of
because?
course.
So for all of you that are saying, Nicole, I want to know how to monetize my brilliance, I want to give you 15 ways. It's a free ebook, 15 ways that you can package your gift, right? It's called ShowMeTheMoneyGift.com. ShowMeTheMoneyGift.com.
I love it. And
Oh,
we'll
I didn't
also
download
make
it.
sure it's in our show notes, great girlfriends.
Oh, Nicole,
Yay,
thanks
for having me. This is so much fun. See, this is why I flew out. It was worth every
Oh my
every
God,
every
thank
bit.
you.
I'm glad we didn't disappoint great girlfriend.
I knew you weren't.
Because she would have came out here and been like, I flew all the way
She
to
would have
Boston.
needed somebody taking a happy hour later. Like, I got to talk about these great girlfriends.
Right.
No, thank you, Nicole.
Oh,
It's been
thank
an
you.
honor.
It's been great.
Yay.
It's been
It's
fun.
awesome.
Yay.
Nicole!
That was so much fun. Yay.
We could not end this podcast without thanking our amazing husbands.
Yes, thank you, Kwaku.
And thank you so much, Rich Daniel.
And our beautiful children, thank you, Sam and Dylan.
And thank you, Miss Sky Daniel.
And thank you to all of you great girlfriends for trusting us as your go-to source for everything life, love, and laughter.
You can check us out on our social, on Instagram,
The Great Girlfriends,
on Twitter,
_great GFS,
and on Facebook.
The Great Girlfriends.
And please make sure that you join our Facebook group, which is over 16,000 women strong.
Absolutely. And make sure you listen every single Wednesday on iTunes, Spotify, Podcast Bean, Podcast Republic, Google Play, and every other podcasting service.
Absolutely.
Be sure to post your questions, share with your friends, keep listening, and keep being a great girlfriend. I'm Sybil.
And I'm Brandon.
And we're signing off.
Peace.
Peace.